Hello, Shalom. Welcome to Jerusalem and to Davidson Center Archaeological Park. I'm Itamar, I'm a tour guide here in Jerusalem. And today, for the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, the day and the fast that commemorates the fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple twice. For the first time by the Babylonians, then for the second time by Rome. I thought we'll do this nice little virtual tour here in this amazing park. And I want to thank all the organizations that actually supported this. The Nature and Parks Authority, the City of David, the company for the reconstruction of and development of the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem, the East Jerusalem Development Company. Thanks to them, we're able to do this. And our plan is to see the glory of Jerusalem and its destruction by Rome. So just in front of us, you can see the Al-Aqsa Mosque with the Grey Dome on the Temple Mount. And in Arabic, it's called Haram al-Sharif. Okay, so this is the Honorable Plaza. Okay, so you can see the mosque, and right in front of us, the corner of the Western Wall. It's actually the southwest corner of the Temple Mount. You can see the Southern Wall here, this one, and you can also see the Western Wall, the beginning of the Western Wall, just over here. So let's see what is waiting for us. Right now, there is some massive renovation that is taking place in the Museum of Davidson Center, so it's not all open. But from this window, we'll be able to see something quite special, I believe. I want to show you this massive stone that was found here. You can see it has nice rosette, like a beautiful flower, and something that looks like a swastika. This is, of course, has nothing to do with swastikas. This is a decoration, purely decorative, nice ornament. And this used to be in the corridors to the temple, okay, in the corridors that led to the temple. Don't worry, if you don't understand what I fully mean, don't worry. We'll get to see how it all connects. I just wanted to share with you this beautiful stone. I'm not too far from the Western Wall, and you can actually hear the morning prayers. Nice pomegranate tree. Let's go down this road and see the different remains, especially this stone with the beautiful decoration of grapevine. I hope you're able to see this. You can see the leaf, and over here there's like a bunch of grapes. Yeah, there's a group of people that came to pray here. So right now in front of us there is a doorstep, like you can see, of ancient palaces that were built by the Muslims in the 8th century. We're going through a Muslim complex actually in this area. Different palaces that were built by the Umayyad dynasty. We'll get back to this area later on. At the moment, I'm showing you the southern wall of the Temple Mount. And all these walls, the western wall, the northern wall, the eastern wall, and the southern wall, they were all massive retaining walls that supported the plaza that was built by King Herod during the 1st century BC and the 1st century CE by his successors. He needed these massive retaining walls because he wanted to build a big plaza, a plaza that is so big that it's much bigger than the size of the mountain, the size of Mount Moriah. So these retaining walls was the structure that helped him to fulfill this dream. Let's see what happens here. We are the first one today. So here we are. In front of us, that's the Mount of Olives, the cemetery on the Mount of Olives. This hill in front of us now, it's the neighborhood of Silwan. It's an Arab neighborhood of East Jerusalem, one of almost 30 neighborhoods. And just behind this palm tree lies the city of David. We'll try to see it from a few other angles. It's a very, very low hill. Underneath us, there is a nice trail they made between different ritual baths that were found here. Ritual baths, mikveh. They found many mikvaot, plural, ritual baths of Jews that came here during the days of the Second Temple. So a little under 200 ritual baths were found in this area. That's quite impressive. We'll see a few of them. And again, this is the southern wall. Let's continue. Just underneath us, it's not very clean, but there is a ritual bath right over here, a mikveh. So you can see there are a few stairs and then it leads to a basin. And this basin actually contains water now. Honestly, I wouldn't suggest anyone to enter right now, but I believe that as far as purification is concerned, it could purify you. So purity has nothing to do with being clean, right? Purity is to cleanse yourself spiritually, and getting cleaned up is something more physical. So the ritual baths, of course, are to cleanse us, for the purpose of cleaning us, purify us spiritually. So in the past, they used to enter from the right steps, bathe, and then go out from the left side of these stairs. When you go up these stairs, this is on the right side. Let's just remember that. The right is the favored side, as we are going to see. There is a little sign here that will show us how it worked. So we'll use it. See, that's how the ritual baths used to look like. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is see how the pilgrims, the Jewish pilgrims that came here during the high holidays 3 times a year, on Passover, Shavuot, known as Pentecost, and Sukkot, known as the Feast of Tabernacles, how did they enter to the temple itself? Okay, so this is the southern wall, and most people actually came from the south, from a big pool called the Siloam pool. We're not really able to see it. It's very, very, very far away from here in Jerusalem terms. Only 800 meters. So 800 meters this way, very deep, much deep in the valley, there is the Siloam pool. We have found it. It's in the city of David. we have about 10% of its original size. Originally it was 70 meters and 70 meters, something in that neighborhood, let's say almost 200 feet on 200 feet. But today we only have 10% of the size. And from there, people were climbing up in a Pilgrims road that is yet to be open to the public. The Pilgrims road is so beautiful. And there are videos of the city of David when they take you up there and show you how it all looks like. And in the future, hopefully in the foreseen future, maybe a year, maybe less, we'll be able to walk there. And clearly there is no signal, so I wouldn't be able to broadcast live or anything like that, but you'll definitely have the chance to either visit in person or with a guide. So this is the Pilgrims Road that will take you from the Siloam Pool all the way up to this area. And from there, most people would take a right turn and will go to one of the few gates that were here. And where were these gates? Some gates were here. 2 gates were just over here. One, and the other one we can't see it because of this new wall. This wall was built by the Crusaders and it's kind of blocking us from seeing the other gate. And the more common practice was to go up the tripled gate that we will see closely. It's just over here, this area. Before I get closer to it, I wanted to show you how these corridors look like, and I'm taking you back to the beautiful stone that I've showed you earlier. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't watched it from the very beginning, no problem. You can always return to it after I finish this broadcast. So you see these beautiful domes, decorated domes, and the beautiful columns and arches. So this still exists. This still exists, still standing, and Muslims can actually go there. It's just under the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So you can see the Al-Aqsa Mosque right over here. You can see this basilica. And under Al-Aqsa Mosque, there is an underground mosque, actually 2 underground mosques for about 4,000 people. Al-Aqsa Mosque itself could contain something like 5,000 people, so together almost 10,000. And when you go down to these underground mosques, you're actually able to see all this construction, all of this, okay? Including the domes. So it's still there. I've seen it in videos, and it's very, very impressive. Let's go to the next diagram that we have here. That will really help us understand how this all worked. So this is the southern wall in the days of the Second Temple. So you can see there is a double gate on the left and triple gate. Some suggest it's a double gate also on the right. Okay, this one. And most pilgrims would go up from these gates, from the right gates. Right is right. Right is right. It's the favored side in most cultures, also in Judaism. So therefore, you can see how they entered. Now, normally I would go up the stairs to the tripled gate, but today I want to show you the original gate, stairs. I want to show you the original stairs, and that's why I will climb up from here. So let's take a look. Some of it was reconstructed, but some of it is original. You can see the original stairs here, and the idea is that it has a certain pattern that makes someone that walk up these stairs go up in a dignified, slow pace. So take a look at this. A long step, then 2 short steps, then another long step, then another long step. So it gives us an easier pace. So we'll walk up to the temple in a more dignified manner. So this is of course new stones, but it lies on the original chiseled stairs. Okay. So right now we're standing in front of the southern wall of the Temple Mount. Much of it was destroyed, but 2 layers of stones from the original wall that was built by King Herod is still here. And take a look at these massive stones. It's huge. See? This is one stone. All of this. From here all the way here. It's just huge. All this. And also here. A massive stone. From here all the way here. It's huge. Compare it to the little rocks, little stones above it, mainly from the days of the Crusaders and later of different Muslim dynasties. Much smaller. So these are the Herodian style stones. Where is the gate that I was pointing out earlier? It used to be here. Okay, so let's take a look, try and follow. The door was right here. All these stones did not exist. Go up there. Then you'll see something that looks like an arch. It has nothing to do with Herod's time. Just above it, here. This layer that you see over here, this is the height of the gate, of just one gate. Okay? There are 2 gates here. Very, very impressive. 6-7 meters, something like that. Very impressive. So from here, let's go to the tripled gate. Once again, I just remind you, the people came from the Siloam pool, went up about 700 meters or so, or 800 meters. Then they took a right turn to get to this area of the southern wall. And they would walk to the tripled gate. They walked up in this nice steady pace. We saw the stairs. Right now we're getting to the tripled gate. Okay, if I'll stand here, I think you'll be able to see all the 3 arches. Okay, something like that. 1, 2, and a 3rd one just over here. So this is the tripled gate. It didn't have arches probably. It was probably the same style like we saw earlier, kind of a square style. So you can imagine the Jewish pilgrims climbing up these stairs, entering these gates to a tunnel. That's why it's called the Hulda gate, probably one of the reasons. Hulda gate. Hulda was a prophetess in the days of the Judean kings. But also Hulda means mole, like a mouse or a mole or a rat that goes into the ground in these tunnels. So Hulda in modern Hebrew today, it's for rat. Holed is for a mole, and in either cases this is the way to enter through these underground tunnels and approach with another staircase up to the court of the temple, the plaza of the temple. So this is where it happened. Next to us, in this way, you'll be able to see the corner. Yeah, this one. It's the corner of the southern wall with the eastern wall. So the width of this entire wall is about 300 meters, a little less than 300 meters. And over there we actually found more remains of the southern wall, a few other layers, which is quite impressive. Some suggested that there is also remains of a ramp, or indication that there was a ramp over there to get cattle that was sacrificed in the temple, to get the cattle up through that ramp to wait here somewhere in one of these rooms. It's called Solomon's Stables. And from there the cattle was taken up to the temple to be sacrificed. Okay, so small animals like sheep and goats potentially could enter from another gate, from other gates, but the cattle entered from here. You can see some more remains of houses from different periods, not necessarily from the days of the Second Temple, also Byzantine, from the days that the city was Christian. And I want to take you down now to an area that is dated back to the First Temple period. So we're on the 9th of Av. We commemorate the fall of Jerusalem, the destruction of Jerusalem, first by Babylon, later by the Romans. So this will be nice to see remains of both periods. So the area that we are approaching to is called the Ophel. Ophel, O-F-E-L or O-P-H-E-L, Ophel. Ophel coming from the Hebrew word leha'apil, to climb, to ascend up. And this was an area between the city of David and the residential area of Jerusalem, and the temple itself, the different chambers of the priests, etc., etc., all kinds of storerooms for the temple. So over here they found remains of walls, rooms, all these massive jars, gates. Okay. For example, you can see these layer, super impressive. These massive stones just over here. This is a part of the First Temple period. These are walls and gates that you can imagine the Babylonian soldiers breach in. Okay, so what we've seen so far, this is a nice depiction of how it looked like. And again, this is the connecting area between the city of David, which is southern from us, and the temple itself, which is in the top of Mount Moriah, northern from us. There you go. Okay, let's continue. I'm on my way now to the ritual baths area. Signal should be fine. If it cuts off, just wait a little bit. We found many cisterns here alongside with the ritual bath. So this is one cistern. It's pretty big. It's hard to capture it with the camera. And there is a massive column in the middle to support the roof of this cistern. You can actually see some remains of the plaster on the walls. It's a mosaic. So we are on our way now to the western wall, to Robinson Arch, and continuation of our tour. So I hope you like this part so far. I wanted to show you how the southern wall used to look like and how the pilgrims used to enter. We saw some remains from the first temple period, the Ophel wall. And now we're heading to the more dramatic part of our tour, which is the western wall, Robinson's Arch, and the remains of the destruction. In front of us, that's the Jewish quarter. Okay, so we started more or less here earlier. I show you some of these walls that were probably built by the Umayyad dynasty, the Muslims, and during the 8th century. Just underneath us, there is like a whole system of Roman sewer system, and the street, the Pilgrims Road. So when Jews came up during the days of the Second Temple from the Siloam pool, they came up from this street all the way here. This is the original street. You can call it Wall Street. I think it's appropriate. So this is the Western Wall, just the beginning of the Western Wall. You can see how massive the stones here are, because this is the corner, the southwest corner. It has these big, massive stones. Actually keeps the whole building intact. So you can see there is like long stones. One is going to the left side, another one is going to the right side, then again to the left, then again to the right, and to the left, and to the right. This is the idea here, in order to make sure the corners that get a lot of the weight can hold and support the structure. This is the wall, the Pilgrims Road. You can see that I mentioned earlier the sewer system, where you can actually walk today. There's also kind of a I'm not sure how it's called, but a nice drainage part, a stone where the water can go down to the sewer system, right over here. You can see some shops that were ruined, like these ones over here, and a few others that we're going to see in a moment. Just over here, these ones. I want to stay here for a few more seconds to show you this intersection. Some people continued further north. The Western Wall is not just this little part, of course. It's 500 meters long, 1500 feet, all the way deep into the Muslim Quarter. And today you can see the Western Wall to all its length, from the south all the way to the north, where the Via Dolorosa is. And you can see it here in Davidson Center, in the main plaza of the Western Wall, and in the Western Wall Tunnel. The Western Wall Tunnel tour, which is amazing. You can see the continuation of that wall under the Muslim Quarter. So some Jews, as I said, some pilgrims continued north, but most of them turned east, turned right to the gates that I showed you earlier. Okay? Now, right in this corner, whoop, all the way up here, all the way up, used to be a place mentioned in the rabbinic literature called the House of Trumpeting. The House of Trumpeting, where a Levi would blow the trumpet to announce the Shabbat, the Sabbath, and the high holidays. And we've actually found, back in 2008, I think, more than 10 years ago for sure, they have found this stone that you see here. Now, this particular part of the stone is a replica. The original one is in the Israel Museum, but this is what it says. And I don't know if you recognize the Hebrew letters here. Maybe you can see that there is some chiseled letters. It's a little hard to see, but it says, for the House of Trumpeting, to declare, to announce what? To announce the Shabbat. Okay, to announce the Shabbat. Try to find a nice angle. I don't think you will. Yeah, you can see that there is something chiseled here, right? Okay. And if not, then this is the stone. You can look it up. So he was announcing 3 times on Friday afternoon. The first time he was trumpeting was, let's say 30 minutes before Shabbat. to call the people that work in the fields, all the farmers, to call them back to the city. Then, let's say 20 minutes before Shabbat, he was trumpeting again, blowing the shofar or trumpeting, in order to call the people that work in the markets to close their shops. And then, this is my guess, about 10 minutes before Shabbat, he was doing it again. And the Talmud says that there was enough time between the second and the first time. Sorry, between the first time. Let me rephrase it. There was enough time between the last trumpeting and Shabbat for someone to fry a fish or to bake a quick bread. So this is how I suggest it was about 10 minutes, how long it takes to fry a fish. So this is, again, the first time to call the people from the fields, second time to call the people from their shops, to close their shops, and then the last time, just before Shabbat, last few arrangements before you go, this is it. So this was found over here, and you can imagine how it happened every Shabbat, every weekend, and during the high holidays, probably to announce also the high holidays. Okay, what I'm showing you now, and maybe I can focus, let's see, I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom in. Yeah, I can. Here it is. What you see over here is this bump in the wall. It's called Robinson's Arch. Robinson's Arch. And they discovered that this arch was above the street, let's say about 15, 17 meters above the street. And this was a part of an intersection. So you can imagine the arch went like this, and then there was a staircase taking you down to the street level. A massive arch, huge. And this was like a known marketplace just over here. So let's take a look at the shops. So we saw some of the shops here in rubble. Okay. You can actually see some of the remains of the destruction just over here. This nice street was destroyed. We'll see. And over here you can see the shops. 1, 2, 3, 4. We found more of those in other parts of the Western Wall tunnels. So what did they do in these shops? We have indications that they sold grains. Maybe there was a money changer here. And most important, they sold animals for burnt offerings. So these animals, goats, sheep, kosher animals, goats, sheep, maybe some birds, like doves, they were sold over here. And we actually found vouchers made of clay that says the word in Hebrew, korban, which means sacrifice. So it means that perhaps a Jewish person, let's say in Syria or in Egypt, instead of carrying the animal for his burnt offering, instead of carrying it all the way from there, or instead of carrying the money to purchase it here, he would just buy a voucher from an agent, let's say in Alexandria or Antioch, and he would just carry a small piece of pottery that says korban that the agent over here in Jerusalem would accept. And he said, oh, okay, you paid my cousin in Alexandria or Antioch. That's fine. And he will get his sacrifice. So this took place in one of these shops over here. So that's how it went in the days of the Second Temple. Purification in the Siloam Pool, ascending up with the Pilgrims Road. We saw the gates, we saw the shops, and we mentioned the high holidays, Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot. All of this was going on right over here in the temple itself, which is located over here. We can't see it right now. We'll see it towards the end of this session. I want to conclude this part of our visit to Davidson Center with this rubble, this pile of stones that you see over here. Where you can actually see remains from the destruction of Jerusalem. So these stones were not just randomly sitting here. These stones were knocked down by Roman soldiers, by Roman legionnaires from the 10th Legion, Fretensis. It was knocked down all the way here. And in some of these stones, you can actually see very clearly it's a Western Wall kind of stone. Here, for example, you can see the frames. You can see the beautiful frame that is known. Every Western Wall stone has something like that. Here, I'll point out the Western Wall itself. And you can see that the stones have this nice little frame as well. I think I can zoom in. Here, see that? So these are stones that were knocked down after the destruction of the temple. Whoop, sorry. How do I turn? Here we go. So you can see the actual remains of the destruction right over here. So the 9th of Av is time to commemorate both the destruction of the first temple by Babylon because of worshipping false idols and being murderous and being sexually immoral. These are the reasons why the first temple was destroyed. And the reason the second temple was destroyed because this hatred between the different Jewish groups, Pharisees, Sadducees, Essenes, the Zealots, early Christians, all these branches of Judaism thought they were holding the truth about God, and ultimately none of them was close enough to God, and they were willing to murder for that truth, and this caused the you can say a civil war, war between brothers in Judea, as the Roman soldiers and legionnaires are just looking from outside and laughing and saying basically they're doing our job, they're destroying themselves. So this is again how Jerusalem was destroyed, because of lots of inner conflicts between the Jewish community in Jerusalem. And the Romans would just had to, do the last push in order to destroy it. Oh, we have this nice depiction here of the intersection. You can see it right here. It's Robinson's Arch. And I did want to point out that there is hope. The temple was destroyed. Many people were exiled. And then, a few centuries later, there comes a person and chisel these words over here. And if you look carefully at the stone, trying to point it out, trying to zoom in here. Oh, perfect. Okay, so if you read Hebrew, you're actually able to read that. If not, then let me help you. It's from Isaiah 66. In Hebrew it says, "Ve'ra'item v'sas libchem ve'atzmotechem kadeshe." And the continuation is "ve'atzmotechem kadeshe tifrachna ve'noda yad Hashem et avadav ve'za'am et oivav." And in English it says, it's Isaiah 66 verse 14, "When you see this, your heart will rejoice and you will flourish like grass. The hand of the Lord will be made known to his servants, but his fury will be shown to his foes." Here it is, sorry. So this is just the first part of the verse, but it's very known that when Jews quote just the first part of the verse, they refer to all of it. So he basically hopes that the children of Israel will see the salvation and they will rejoice and flourish. Their bones will flourish like grass. And then the continuation is, "The hand of the Lord will be made known to his servants, but his fury will be shown to his foes." So this is the hope that the Jewish people had back in the 4th century, 5th century. Some suggested it's later. It's from the medieval times. But this is their hope, that one day they will see the grace of God and their enemies will know His wrath. And in modern Israel, I must say, we surely see His blessing, God's blessing on Israel, and Jerusalem is rebuilt, as you can see. And I'm walking here, showing you around, walking around here with my gimbal and my cell phone. So maybe there is hope after all. So we're leaving now the Davidson Center. I will take you to a certain place where I can show you the Western Wall. And if you want to say a prayer, this will be your opportunity. I won't go to the Western Wall Plaza itself, just outside. Find us a nice location. How nice. This is open now. It was closed earlier. So for those of you who remember, we saw this stone with the rosette and this decoration. It was a part of the corridor that leads to the temple. A few other decorations. And over here we found this milestone that speaks about the 10th Legion. L-E-G X 10th Legion, F-R Fretensis, F-R, and it mentions Vespasian, the Caesar. So let's see the word Caesar. C-A-E-S. A, R is cut off. Caesar, Vespasian. Vespasian was the father of Titus, the general that destroyed Jerusalem. And Vespasian was later, after Vespasian died, Titus replaced him as the Roman Emperor. Let's continue. This will be our last stop, just to see the Western Wall. So there is some serious praying for going on over there because of Tisha B'Av. Everyone is fasting. No one is wearing leather shoes. All kinds of other restrictions that takes place during the 3 weeks before the 9th of Av, and especially the 9 days before Tisha B'Av, before the 9th of Av. So here we are in Jerusalem, near the Western Wall. So I want to thank everyone that supported this broadcast. Nature and Parks Authority, City of David, the Company for Reconstruction and Development of the Jewish Quarter in Jerusalem, and the Company for the Development of East Jerusalem. And thank you all for watching, and see you on the next one. All the best.